Welcome to the Rustafied Edge video series. During this video, we are going to show you everything you need to know about gathering resources in the world of Rust. We'll explain the different types of resources, where to find them, and your best bets at gathering these resources. In Rust, every player starts with a rock. The rock is the most basic gathering tool in the game, and it's going to perform as such. When starting the game, use the rock to gather either wood or stone. Wood and stone are the two essential building blocks of Rust. You need to gather these throughout your playtime. Wood can be found throughout the grass and snow biomes, but are sometimes hard to find out in the desert. Rock is common in the Arctic and desert biomes, but you may have trouble spotting them in the grass biome. There are three different kinds of rock nodes. The metal-rich node gives a larger amount of metal ore, a small amount of sulfur ore, and the largest amount of high-quality ore. The standard node gives a medium amount of metal ore and a small amount of sulfur and high quality. And the sulfur-rich node, you guessed it, has a much higher amount of sulfur ore in it. All three node types have a similar yield of stone. Using that little rock of yours to gather all those different resources is going to get tiring very quickly. So once you've gathered enough stone and wood, you should craft a stone hatchet or a pick. Stone tools will allow you to gather resources faster and more efficiently. As you progress in the game, you'll be able to craft metal tools as well, which will increase your gathering rates even further. As well as gathering wood from trees and stone and ore from nodes, you can gather them both from pickables on the ground. These can be found throughout the game world. Rock and stone aren't the only things that can be picked up off the ground. You can also pick up cloth in the way of hemp plants. Food, like mushrooms, corn, and pumpkins, are also sparsed around in the environment. Another very important resource in the world of Rust are your components. Components are used to craft many of the important items in the Rust, such as your guns, your armor, turrets, and even base defense. You can find these components in the many trash piles and barrels that litter the landscape of Rust. They have many different looks, but break them open or loot them with the E key and you may just find what you're looking for inside. And this brings us to the final resource we're going to cover in this video. Rust does have a teeming landscape full of wildlife. Animals are an important resource to find and gather in Rust, as they will provide you food, cloth, leather, and animal fat. There are 6 different types of animals in Rust. Pigs will give you a good amount of animal fat and food, and they're a pretty easy catch and kill. Bears are perhaps the most dangerous of all the animals. Don't attack these unless you are very well prepared. If you manage to kill one, they do yield a high amount of fat, food, leather, and cloth, but do keep in mind the risk-reward ratio here and be ready. Another dangerous animal that you're going to run into in your adventures in Rust are the wolves. They deal just as much damage as a bear, but they're faster and they do have a much lower resource yield. Deers are harmless, but they can be really hard to catch, and they do also have a fairly low yield. Horses can also be hard to catch, and they have a similar resource yield to the deer. And finally, the chicken. More rare than any other animal in Rust, chickens have a small amount of resource and mainly succeed at annoying all players with their constant clucking. All these animals should be hunted and gathered whenever seen. The best way is usually with a bow, a spear, or you can pull out the trusty gun. And that's it. Hopefully you have a better understanding of the resources in Rust and the best ways to gather them. I'm Source Dogma with Rustafied official servers, and I really do want to thank you for watching. Are you looking to learn more? Well then get ready for the next video in the Edge video series.